Eibar have either lost or drawn against the majority of their relegation rivals in recent weeks. For the visitors, this fixture represents Eibar's last game before a daunting series of encounters against Villarreal, Athletic Club and Real Madrid. It has been a strange campaign for Cadiz, returning to the top flight after some 16 or so years away, and despite pulling off some of those big wins earlier in the season, pair of goals scored by Salvi Sanchez and Alvaro Negredo, earning them a 2-0 win earlier on this term. Santander. There's a return for Marko Dimitrovic. Our heartfelt condolences to him as well. He missed the last game as he mourned the death of his father. Back between the sticks for today. Starting lineup for Cadiz, made that return from injury a couple of weeks ago. He had some cameo appearances since then. It is his first start back.